and Mudar Zahran, a Jordanian Palestinian activist and the head of the Jordanian coalition opposition. No, I got it backward, right? Opposition coalition. Okay. So first of all, before we take it into an interfaith discussion between Christianity and Islam, I would like to ask you, Mudar, when we speak about the Middle East from the bird eye, and we see that most of the time, what's creating the headline in the news is the Israeli-Palestinian conflict or wars, basically. How would you describe, first of all, the situation and needs of your community? I'm referring first and foremost for the Palestinian Jordanian community, but you can refer to the entire Jordanian community if you wish.
First of all, there's a huge difference between describing a disease and describing the root of the disease. As an academic who's carefully examined the Arab-Israeli conflict, you look at the archives of the British National Archives, and you'll find a lot of document proving that the intention in 1948 was to start a war. They didn't want to pull out and let the Jews create their own state and let the Arabs end up with anything. They created a recipe for disaster. Long story short, what you have today in Jordan, like most or all regional countries, is a well set up balagan, mess, chaos that could benefit the outside forces for as long as possible. What is Jordan? Jordan is 78% of the British mandate for Palestine. Jordan is a country proven to have 11.3 million, with the M, Palestinians or self identifying Palestinians. So that's 95% of the population. Jordan was illegally cut off from the British mandate for Palestine, 78% given to a foreign Saudi family from Hejaz to rule illegally over the rest of the population. This was uncalled for, this was illegal, this was unuseful, and this was for a good reason. What do we have today? How come the Palestinians don't have a country? Why is this whole mess in the Middle East? People say nice things. Let's become friends. Let's hug and sing kumbaya. We need to finish the root of the problem. The root of the problem is that the Palestinians are stateless. They need a country. And the leadership that you are allowed to deal with as Israelis are fake leadership propped up by Western globalists like European countries and former administrations like Daddy Bush and Obama and Clinton. Their purpose was to sustain the conflict. Even Arab governments, which are claiming to engage in peace and peace talks, for them, it's better to keep the situation as is. And Jordan is an example of this mess. What's Jordan? Jordan, if it wasn't for a foreign king telling us this is not our country, the Palestinians would have had a country since 1948. If it wasn't for a foreign king denying the Palestinians in Israel their own citizenship, which they've had until 1988, the Palestinian statehood and citizenship problem would have been solved. The Palestinians were residents of Israel, not citizens of Israel. The Palestinians of Jerusalem had all their rights and access to worship, and they had to travel with a Jordanian passport. They could have voted for a Jordanian parliament member in Jordan, in Amman, not in Jerusalem. Also, the Waqf, the Al Masjid al Aqsa. Al Masjid al Aqsa, as an Orthodox and practicing Muslim, one of the meanest and most evil thing you can do to anyone is to prevent them from their own worship. Prophet Muhammad allowed the Christians of Najran to worship inside Islam's second holiest site, which is Al Masjid al Nabawi. Well, Al Aqsa is our third holiest site, and the Jews are monotheists. Not we, according to the Quran, worship the same God. We quote unquote worship the God of the children of Israel. So they are our brothers and sisters in religion. Why can't they worship? Because of the Hashemite clown controlling Al-Aqsa Mosque. And the words of the Israeli government itself are clear. Because they noted in a press statement in 2015, they said that, quote unquote, the Jordanian Waqf controlling Al-Aqsa is involved in, quote unquote, in kind and incitement for the trouble in Al-Aqsa. And then we have the issue of the right of return. Yes, my parents were kicked out of Israel in 1948 with the Arab armies. The Egyptian army, for the record, told them that they have to leave so they can finish off the Jews in 2 hours and they can get back. My parents both were infants. But when they have the right to return to Israel, but on the other hand, 850,000 Arab Jews, we call them Arab Jews, Jews of Arab countries, who were stripped of their own property, humiliated, killed, butchered in occasions, and expelled without their money and wealth, they have the right to return. So if you do the right of return, we Arab countries will end up having to do the right of return, and we will end up with a disaster for both sides. It's not doable. Pakistan had 10 million people, Pakistan and India, when the line was drawn between two countries. Both countries welcomed the refugees from either side, and they called them citizens. Up to today, it's been 78 years, and the Hashemite foreign king is still claiming that Palestinians in Jordan are not citizens. This king is also very unique. His marriage to the Muslim Brotherhood, Jordanian marriage to the Muslim Brotherhood, the Jordanian regime is severe. Look at the names. The most notorious terrorists in the region are connected to Jordan. And let me tell you a very quick story, since we don't have plenty of time. I will never forget when I was just 18 and I saw Osama bin Laden visiting our neighbor in Amman.